Hi.
What up, fam?
I haven't done that in a while.
What?
My awkward hellos and goodbyes.
I don't know.
Is my awkwardness...
Here we are. Hi, guys. Welcome back
to
our
the channel. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, guys. Just a couple updates for you before we jump into the next video in the Boundary series. You want to tell them, babies?
Yes, I'll tell you the updates. So the first update is that we're going to be announcing the giveaway winners this Saturday. And 10 will be chosen and announced via Tori's Instagram at Tori Masters. 15 will be chosen via this YouTube channel on Saturday. And then 5 will be chosen via our podcast on Saturday, the Messy Masterpiece podcast. So there's that update. So hang tight. We're getting a lot of messages from people that are just like, hey, did I win? And I'm like, you know,
I don't know yet.
We don't know yet. So working on that. Tori, I think we got above 2,000 entries.
Yeah.
And so obviously we wish we had 2,000 Bibles, which takes me to my next point, which is kind of fun. We saw a comment from someone in the Masters fam, and they brought up a great idea. They're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this more often? And we were like, They're like, what you guys should do is start like a Bible fund for people who are in need. And we're like, And so we wanted to ask you all, is that something that you would feel comfortable contributing to? And Tori and I would want to make sure that it's fully transparent, where it's like a separate bank account where donations come in and donations go out to help people get their hands on a Bible. But it just made us feel like, wow, there are people that already have one, that feel comfortable with one, and they know that like, wow, I would like to be a part of helping more people in this Masters fam get their hands on the Bible. And so, I mean, we can't think of a better idea. And we just happened to get an email today. So we saw the comment a few days ago, and that was like, wow, that was a pretty cool idea. And then we got an email today at 2:50, and it says, I would love to donate to give away more Bibles. This is such a good idea. I love the Thrive Bible. I read it every day. It helps me learn the Word of God in such a beautiful way. Who thought God would have a love letter for me? It's like, how sweet is that? Anyways, so this could totally be a God thing, where it's just one of those opportunities to really bless you all. Not us, but like us.
The Masters fam, blessing the Masters fam.
So, and that's what we want it to be, is, you know, like everyone in it together. So those are some updates.
In this together.
Okay.
That happened.
I'm a little upset with ourselves right now. Do you ever just cringe at yourself? This is my nervous twitch when I do this. I'm like, I pull my hair.
All right, y'all. Let's talk about boundaries with social media. Do we have any? Should we have any? Why should we have them?
Are you addicted to social media? How to tell if you're addicted to social media? Just let me ask you something real quick.
Maybe ask them a question.
Whenever you sit down for food with some friends or family members, do you put your phone out on the table facing up, or just facing down? Do you put the phone out on the table? Because if you do that, that may be a problem. And we're not calling people out, because guess what? We're filming a video. My phone's right here. Okay, so like, listen, this is not us calling you out. This is us calling everyone
ourselves out.
And so
we can all keep each other accountable.
Accountable. You accounted for those T's. Anyways, so I was watching a video on social media by this guy named Simon Sinek, who's just so brilliant. And he was sharing different ways to know if you are addicted to social media. And I was like, wow, every single one he went through, I was like, oh shoot, I have a problem. This is not okay.
Yeah. What were they?
Well, a lot of it was more of an intrinsic feeling, where it's just like, have you ever been sitting doing something or whatever, and then a message pops up and you get really happy all of a sudden? Or how often do you go back and check who is watching your Instagram stories, or how many likes you get, or if someone does something, right? How often you go back and check the numbers? Well, that little burst of excitement that you have, or actually that little piece of sadness you may have if things didn't perform as well, is a dopamine kick, right? It's basically, there's, chemicals in your brain. I talk about this way too much. So there's chemicals that are being released in your brain to make you feel good. And so the thing that's crazy, and again, this is not my research. I mean, this is not my findings, but scientists are finding that the same chemical that's being released in your brain is the same chemical that's being released whenever you drink alcohol, smoke a cigarette, or gamble. Well, guess what? There's like legal age limits on all those. And there's like boundaries and different things you can create. But social media,
there's none.
And something that blew my mind, actually, it really scared me, I guess. And I'm not trying to get super down right now, but I saw a statistic, I don't remember exactly, but it basically was most of everyone who struggles with alcoholism was introduced to alcohol in their teens. Okay. So most of the people who are addicted to alcohol got introduced to alcohol as a teen. Well, guess what? How many of you were on social media in your teens? And what is that going to become for us whenever we are in our 40s, 50s, you know? Yeah. And so that kind of scared the life out of me a little bit.
So true, because when our parents were teens, this wasn't even a thing.
Yeah. So
super interesting.
A lot of what we want this video to be is just kind of like taking a step back from it. Yeah. And of course, like the cliche thing, social media people talking about the dangers of social media. Well, guess what? Because that's what we do for work. And we're putting boundaries in ourselves because we're on it so much. We're like, oh, wow, I cannot allow this to come into my relationship. I can't allow this to dictate how I feel about myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, and stuff that we've talked about before, just practical boundaries and things that I go in and out phase-wise of having them, and then I get distracted, and then I stop doing it, and I notice genuinely in my mental health a difference. And just practically, I'll go through these real quick. First and foremost, these are not like groundbreaking or revolutionary. These are just things that I've seen in my life when I'm doing them, it helps, and when I'm not doing them, I can tell that I'm way more likely to reach for it every couple seconds.
Yeah. I just want to encourage you real quick. They don't need to be revolutionary, right? Like if you want to get in better shape, you
go to the gym.
You sleep better, you work out, and you eat better. Yeah. Like those are not revolutionary. So like practical advice is good for people.
True.
So
go
on with your bad self.
I'll just tell you guys. So I do not sleep with my phone by my bed anymore. I plug it in the bathroom because I've noticed if I have it next to my bed, I will go to sleep scrolling. I won't sleep as good. And then I'll wake up in the morning and it's the first thing I check, and it'll be my excuse. Oh, it's just waking me up. The scroll is like waking me up. And that's not the right way to start my day. I will wake up with anxiety because I have emails and I have DMs and I have all these things to immediately respond to. My brain, my emotional self is just not ready to take all that on yet. And it says in the Bible, seek first the kingdom. And so I genuinely feel like disobedient sometimes when I check my phone before I check my Bible, you know, and it's like, okay, no, I need to seek first the kingdom before I seek social media. So that's one thing. I don't do that anymore. There is certain things on your phone that really, really can help. You can actually set timers on your Instagram. Any app, I think, social media wise, you can set a limit on. And so for us, it might be a little bit different than you. And that's why I'm not going to give you like a time parameter. For us, we do it for work. So we might need to be on there a little bit longer than if you're just checking it just for social stuff. You know what I mean? But I really encourage you to set a timer, and it's crazy how fast it'll pop up. Our assistant, Caitlin, she was downstairs earlier and she set a timer for 45 minutes per day on Instagram. And it was about 10 o'clock this morning. And she was like, oh my gosh, I feel like my alarm is about to go off already, because she was on it this morning. And it's just crazy how you don't even realize how much you're on it until you're like, really encourage you guys to set a timer, find something healthy in terms of your life and how often you actually feel comfortable being on it per day. And then you can also set, what's that setting that you can do, like
screen time?
Screen time. I had it on there for a while and I don't have it on there anymore. So after we film this video, I'm going to put it back on, where it locks me out of all my apps at 10 p.m. and I cannot get back on them until 8 a.m. And I know that I need to do that, because if I can't get on my app, I'll be more focused in my quiet time in the morning. I'll read my books at night without worrying about scrolling and being on it and seeing how things performed, or you know, having a ton of conversations that maybe I should be putting that away and having a conversation with my husband, you know?
Yeah. So something that really shocked me that I would do is if I were talking to somebody and then if they had to take a phone call, or if they had to do something, I would immediately take my phone out of my pocket and start scrolling. It's like I couldn't be okay alone. I almost needed to be overstimulated. And if I felt understimulated, I felt like almost anxious, like I'm not doing something. I need to be consuming something. I need to be reading. I need to be reading something. I need to be watching something. I need to be doing something in order to make me feel okay. And that kind of freaked me out because I don't want to have to depend on anything. Because that's when it gets kind of scary. It's like, you're like, wow, we were born without these. Why do we need them so much?
Yeah. It's like if you're driving and you get to the stoplight and immediately, I mean, I do this. I'm like, oh, check my phone. I'm at a stoplight. And then I'm like getting honked at because it turned green. I didn't even notice. Not okay. Something
that I think can be really practical for you to think about, and I actually shared this in another video, is about how what we're consuming can really impact us. And it has like small changes. Like, for example, if you were to eat like a double cheeseburger every day, yeah, you're not immediately going to become, like, excuse me for saying this, but like overweight. You're not, it happens over time. It's small things. It's almost like, so what's that metaphor where if you were in Los Angeles and you wanted to fly to New York City, if you want to fly to New York City, but if your plane was angled 1 degree off, whether it's like north or south, whatever it may be, then by the time you travel the distance, you're going to end up in like Toronto, you're going to end up in North Carolina. And it's just 1 degree off can have such a big impact on where you want to go.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to social media, we may just be justifying it, as I'm just waking up, or I was just bored in the moment, or I may be doing this. But I would encourage you as a boundary where if you're not wanting to spend less time on social media, because not everybody struggles with that, what we would encourage you is to maybe take inventory of what you're actually consuming.
Yeah.
Is it something that's making you feel bad about yourself? Is it making you want to run towards something that maybe isn't the best for you? Is what you're consuming affecting where you're going? And so that's what I really want you to think about. Instead of it being like, I just need to, social media is bad, because social media is not bad. It's not the thing that's bad. It's how it impacts us is what's bad, and how addictive it can be to us, which is bad. And so to just take inventory of what you're consuming and look at the consistency of it, right? Is this something that's helping you become who you want to become, or is this something that's kind of like distracting you from it? Because if you are going to spend time on social media, then it would probably be good for you to be consuming things that are helping you to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, something I always say is, are you impacting social media, or is social media impacting you? And what I mean by that is, are you being intentional with your time when you're being on it? Is it uplifting? Is it kind? Are you following people that inspire you and encourage you to be a better version of yourself? Or are you following people that are making you get trapped in the spiral of comparison and making you feel bad about yourself, kind of like Chad was saying? And so another boundary I would have is making sure that you're taking an inventory of who you're following and not feel bad about it. Not feel bad if you have to unfollow or mute, if it leads you down a path or a mental path that you don't want to be on. And I'm talking down to maybe you are struggling with some body image issues. Maybe you shouldn't be following a bunch of models who post bikini pics. It's the little things, and not feeling bad about what you need to do to be healthy mentally. You know what I mean?
And I just want to be clear, we're not saying that what these people are posting is bad.
Wrong. No, not at all.
But what we're saying is there's nothing wrong with you being honest with yourself and saying, you know what, like maybe I shouldn't be consuming that right now, because the last time I saw that, I kind of spiraled and I started feeling bad about myself. And honestly, you don't need that. You don't need that in your life. Like, you absolutely don't need it, and you can walk away from it. And so, or just mute people and then come back to that in the future.
Yeah.
We do that quite frequently. I think the biggest thing I want to say is it's not personal. Like, these people, it's nothing personal at all. It's that I have something inside myself that I'm like, you know what? I would rather like take some time away from seeing that and work on myself than have to think I'm strong enough to handle seeing every single thing that makes me jealous or whatever.
Yeah. If you're going through a breakup, maybe don't be following your ex. You know what I mean? Little things like that are little boundaries that you can put in place that is going to make social media a healthier place for you to be.
I think something that could be really fun for you to try, if you're clicked on this video, then you might find this topic interesting, right? Is to put little barriers to help you with this, right? Where it's not like you're just completely deleting it off your phone, but you can if you need to.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate some of the more practical steps is that, if you were to implement some of these things that we've mentioned, like not sleeping next to your phone, setting up different screen time limits or downloading apps, because I know that like iPhone has different accessibility than like Android phones. And so I would look up different apps and stuff like that. But we've had friends all over the smorgasbord. I mean, they've deleted stuff off their phones. They've had to log out. So now that they have to log in, so it's almost like a barrier where like, instead of just doing it muscle memory wise, because like check how often, like if you leave your phone away from you, watch how often you check your phone or you go to reach from your phone. It's almost like those phantom feelings where you just need it, right? And so if you were to do some of these little tactics, like leaving your phone in another room or using apps to block certain social media at different times, or
turn your notifications off.
Yeah, or turn your notifications off, or unfollowing people that you just don't need to be digesting their content. These can be great barriers to help you still be engaged and active on social media, because it, like we said, it's not bad, but it can help you have a healthier relationship with it.
Yeah.
So speaking of what Tori was saying in terms of turning your notifications off, this may freak you out. I have no notifications on. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I have like probably 100 text messages to respond to. And just to give you like an idea, if you were to go to my Instagram right now, and Tori's is infinitely worse, but like how many requests I have, and that's even more than that. I have a lot more than that, but I don't allow my phone to tell me those things, because if you saw how many emails and texts and messages I need to respond to, it would drive me wild, because I'm like a kind of a perfectionist / people pleaser sometimes, where if I see 0 notifications, I feel great. I feel like accomplished, but that's unrealistic. It's so unrealistic, and it's going to create unhealthy boundaries to where I'm going to be more focused on engaging with people who aren't even close to me than engaging with my wife, right? Yeah. And like, that's not the move, folks.
Not the move. I mean, it was funny. We actually had a podcast that we recorded this morning about distractions, and it was kind of funny because the whole time that we were recording this podcast, our phones were blowing up, and it was so hard to not be distracted. And something that we were saying, and that we've read in so many books, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, in the Thrive Bible, there's so many different books on this topic, but if the enemy can't make you sin, he will make you too busy to hear the voice of God. And for us in our culture, being busy is like a sign of success. And so it's really easy to be scrolling and doing things on social media and having that as like I'm working, or I'm getting stuff done, and God's like calling your name and knocking on your door, and you're like, oh, sorry, I'll get to you later. Yeah. And it's like, if God's calling me, I want to pick up the phone. I don't want to be too busy doing something else to not answer his call.
Yeah. And something I really want to encourage you in right now, because we talked about this on our podcast too, is to make sure that we're not exchanging what's better for what's good. And like, to better explain that, there's a story of Mary and Martha in the Bible. I don't know if it's Luke 11. I don't remember where it is, but basically Mary and Martha are sisters, and they're preparing a dinner for Jesus. And Martha is all jacked up because she's like, I'm going to make you the best dinner you've ever had in your entire life. And Mary's just over there sitting with Jesus, just like, man, tell me that story again, please. I love the way you talk, Jesus. Can you share something else? Then Martha gets all upset, and she's like, Jesus, tell Mary to get her in the kitchen and help me do this. And then Jesus basically rebukes Martha by saying, Martha, 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 you've chosen what is good, but Mary has chosen what is better. And I just want to encourage you to know that, like, there may be good things you're doing on social media. You may be encouraging somebody. It may not be an addiction where you're just scrolling aimlessly. That may not be a problem for you. But are there better things you could be doing? And so that's something I really want to encourage you in, is that just because something good, that doesn't mean it's the best thing for you. For Tori and I, we should probably implement that a lot more, to where it's just like, do I need to be on social media at this time? Like, yeah, but I'm responding to people's messages. It's like, but should you be responding to God, or should you be listening to God? You know what I mean? And so I think we want to make something the bad guy, which is like, social media is bad, God good, right? And I don't think that that's always the case, where social media can be good in a lot of ways. I mean, look at what we're trying to do. We're trying to start a Bible fund for people, for our Masters fam. That's a good thing. But we can't confuse that with what's better, which is us sitting at the feet of God and hearing him and listening to him, And so whatever you may be doing may be good, but it may not always be the best.
Yeah. And I think that's why boundaries are so important. And when we have those boundaries and we are sitting at the feet of Jesus, we can better navigate with discernment how often and when and how to be intentional when we are on social media platforms. We can be a light on a platform that can be very dark for some people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's all, folks.
Who is it says that's all, folks? Like, was it Porky the Pig?
That's all, folks.
It is Porky the Pig, isn't it? I love it. That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for tuning in. Oh, wait, that's our podcast.
Do you have any social media platforms?
Do you ever feel like you have a different voice on the podcast versus on YouTube?
Yes.
I feel like I'm on the podcast. I'm just like, in a world, the Masters fam, tune in every day, 12 a.m. You know, like, I feel like it's almost like trying to be a movie announcer versus
True.
YouTube. It's just like,
we here. It's us.
ha.
All right, y'all. For real, though, I hope this was encouraging. If it was, if you feel like it can encourage any of your friends, make sure to send it to them.
Send it.
As always, make sure to like and subscribe and turn the notification bells on and all that good stuff.
And if you remember, comment down below if that's something you would like to be a part of. And you don't have to be right now. I mean, comment right now, but you don't have to contribute right now. This is something we just want to know if we should research it more.
Yeah.
So.
Love that. Love y'all.
Don't forget, Saturday we're letting the giveaway winners know.
You can still enter. Okay, bye.
Not too late. Do 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 do.